Hello and good evening students and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Now before we start the daily quiz for 6th June, here is an important announcement that now you can get up to 60% scholarship on our live online classroom program and offline classroom programs. We have limited number of seats available and this offer is valid only until 12th June. So click on the link in the pinned comment and register now to get a call back from our counselors. Here is our first question. Consider the following statements regarding the World Environment Day. It has been celebrated since 1973 under the aegis of UNEP, United Nations Environment Programme. For 2023, the theme is Solutions to Plastic Pollution and it is being hosted by Côte d'Ivoire. India has been the host of World Environment Day twice. We have taken this question because on 5th June, we celebrate the World Environment Day. Now this day is being celebrated since the year 1973 after the Stockholm Conference when we first realized that how much human activities are affecting the environment around us. The United Nations Environment Programme, it is the authority under which the World Environment Day is celebrated. Now every year this day has a different theme. For this year, the theme is Stop Plastic Pollution. Now, the host also keeps on rotating every year. This year, the host is Ivory Coast or Côte d'Ivoire. Now, India, it has also been a host of World Environment Day for 2 years. In 2011, for the first time, we hosted the World Environment Day. The second time, we hosted it in 2018. Can you in the comments below tell us what were the themes of the World Environment Day in these two particular years? Now, if we come back to the question, this is correct, and this is also correct. So, your correct answer is C. The next question is, Project 75I is related to which of the following? Indigenous construction of submarines in India, immunizing at least 75% of the global population against human papilloma virus, construction of a space station by China, protection of jobs against the rise of artificial intelligence. Now the reason why we have taken this question is because Germany is very keen on submarine tech cooperation with India. Now this will be done under Project 75I. Now Project 75I, it was approved in the year 2007 in order to make indigenous submarines with state-of-art air-independent propulsion system. It is a part of Indian Navy's 30-year plan for indigenous submarine construction. So if we go back to our question, option A is the correct answer. The next question is, how many of the following statements are true regarding India-Africa Forum Summit? It was first held in the year 2008. The third summit did away with the Banjul formula of inviting the heads of the states. The fourth summit is to be held in Africa in 2023. We have taken this question because according to one of the articles under the editorial section, our former ambassador to Germany has stated that the fourth summit of this forum, it should be held this year when India has the presidency of G20 to increase the impact. Now, India-Africa Forum Summit, it is a very important tool for cooperation between India and Africa. This has been undertaken since the year 2008 when first summit was held in New Delhi. The summits were to be held after every 3 years. So the second summit was in 2011. The third summit had to be in 2014, but because of Ebola outbreak in Africa, it was eventually held in 2015. Since then, no fourth summit has been held for this forum as of now. So fourth summit, it was to be held in Africa, but the date when this will be held has not been finalized up until now. Now the first two summits, they were held under the Banjul formula. Now this formula was adopted by the African Union in the year 2006 and it meant that in this summit only 15 heads of states or government of the African Union will be invited in the summits. However, in 2015 this Banjul formula was done away with and all the 54 heads of states were invited to India for the IAFS, India African Forum Summit. So if we go back to the question, this is correct. This is also correct. However, this is incorrect. So your correct answer is B. The fourth question is, how many of the following statements are correct? mRNA vaccines lead to production of foreign proteins in our body, triggering our immune response. The first human trial of mRNA vaccine was done for rabies. India's first mRNA vaccine was developed for COVID-19. India's mRNA vaccine for COVID-19 was the first such mRNA vaccine against the disease. We have taken this question because according to new research in the field of health, it has been found that mRNA vaccines, they can be very efficient in tackling with the problem of cancer. An experimental addition of mRNA based vaccine from Moderna and Merck, it reduced the risk of melanoma spread by 65% when compared to immunotherapy alone in a mid-stage trial. So mRNA vaccine or the messenger ribonucleic acid vaccine, it includes a biological substance that is inserted in our body through injections in a series of shots designed to protect us from developing a disease. So what happens is that this mRNA that is inserted in our body, it leads to creation of certain proteins in our body which then trigger our immune system to create antibodies to fight off with this foreign protein. This helps our body make the same antibodies that it would have created if we would have been sick with that particular disease. Now this vaccine provides protection from diseases without the risk of life-threatening illnesses. Now during the COVID pandemic, various mRNA vaccines they have been developed. For example, vaccines by Moderna and Pfizer. They were two very important mRNA vaccine. In India too, mRNA vaccine was developed. The first mRNA vaccine in fact of India is related to COVID-19 pandemic. It was the third mRNA vaccine for this disease in the world. Now the development of these vaccines, it has been going on for quite some time, and the COVID pandemic, it gave a big boost to development of mRNA vaccine. The first time that human trials were done for mRNA vaccine was for rabies, and this first trial, it was held in 2013. So if we go back to the question, this one is correct. This is also correct. This is also correct. However, this is incorrect. So our correct answer is option C. Next, we move to a PYQ from the year 2014. Consider the following techniques phenomena: budding and grafting in fruit plants, cytoplasmic male sterility, gene silencing. Which of the following are used to create transgenic crops? Now, first of all, what are transgenic crops? These are crops that have their genomes modified through genetic engineering techniques, either by addition of a foreign gene or removal of a certain detrimental gene. Budding and grafting, they are horticultural techniques and they do not lead to any kind of modification of the genes of that plant. So genetic modification is not taking place in case of budding and grafting. Cytoplasmic male sterility is total or partial male sterility in plants as a result of specific nuclear and mitochondrial interactions. Now this kind of technique, it is widely used in crop plants for hybrid breeding. Gene silencing, it is the regulation of gene expression to prevent expression of certain genes in that particular plant. For example, RNA interference is a form of gene silencing. So that particular gene, it does not shows itself in that particular plant. This is done to silence the detrimental genes of that plant. So this is not a technique for transgenic crops, while these are. So your correct answer is B. Now we come to the fact of the day, which is about the Nyaya Vikas portal. Now this portal has been developed by the government of India to provide efficient ways to empower stakeholders with seamless access to information with regards to funding, documentation, project monitoring and approval. So if the stakeholders can get this kind of information regarding any project, then that will definitely help in monitoring the implementation of this centrally sponsored scheme. So what scheme are we talking about here? It is Nyaya Vikas scheme. Now this scheme, it is being implemented as a centrally sponsored scheme for development of infrastructural facilities for district as well as subordinate judiciary. This scheme was started way back in years 1993-94. Now under the scheme, central assistance is provided to the state governments or the union territory administrations for construction of court halls and residential units for judicial officers, judges of the district and subordinate courts. In 2021, the scheme was further extended to provide for some new features like lawyer halls, toilet complexes and digital computer rooms for convenience of the lawyers and litigants apart from providing court halls and residential units. The fund sharing pattern in this scheme is 60:40% in respect of states other than northeastern and the Himalayan states. For these northeastern and Himalayan states, it is 90:10. 90% is given by center and 10% is the state contribution. In case of union territories, 100% of the funding is done by the center. So that is all about today's daily quiz. I hope you were able to understand all the concepts. Do not forget to tell us in the comments how many questions were you able to answer correctly. So thank you very much and have a very good day ahead.